Leon Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. On today's video, I want to show you how to dial in Shimmer Reverb on your Fractal audio device. We're going to be doing this using a couple of different blocks, and I really want to focus on getting this set up quickly and easily, along with a couple of little tips and tricks that you can use to really dial this in to your taste. Before we get started, we should talk about what Shimmer Reverb is. It's a combination of pitch shifting and reverb, and it can be achieved a couple of different ways on your Fractal audio product. We're going to start out with the reverb block, and let's start with a non-shimmer reverb. I've actually got the default reverb on here, the large hall. I've just turned the mix up to 50%. Let's check it out. We all know the Fractal reverbs sound amazing. Before we dive into the Shimmer reverbs, I think it's worth noting that a lot of Shimmer reverb is going to use a reverb with a much longer decay time on here. So we could turn the time up on any of our favorite reverb types, or we could use one of the cloud reverb types, which have a long reverb time as default. For example, I love the sound of the Stratocumulus reverb. Let's have a listen to that. So my first tip would be, before you try a Shimmer reverb, try one of the cloud types in there. They can sound absolutely gorgeous and create a really lovely ambient pad on there. However, if you do love the sound of Shimmer reverb, you want to start out with these special effect reverbs, and they are labeled SFX in the VP4. You'll have to look for the individual names on the AXFX3, FM9, and FM3. My personal favorite is this Ursa Major reverb in here. Let's just have a listen to what it sounds like at the stock settings. Then I'll show you a couple of advanced tweaks you can make to make things sound even smoother, and in my opinion, a little bit more beautiful and gorgeous on there. Again, you can dial all of this into taste. Let's hear the Ursa Major. There's a couple of different shimmer types in there. They all sound incredible and they all have their own character going on. If we have a look under the hood on the VP4 in Expert Edit, we can see that there is a dedicated pitch section for the reverb, and this is actually available in every single reverb type. So if you've got a favorite reverb that you want to add pitch shifting to, you can do that. So over here on the right, you can see pitch shift. We've got pitch shift. We've got two pitch shift voices in here. You can see with the Ursa Major, it's set to 12 semitones and 24 semitones, so an octave and 2 octaves up, whereas, for example, on the Capricorn type, we've got a combination of an octave up and an octave down. You can also set the amount of pitch feedback and the pitch direction on there, and that's a really powerful one, whether you have the pitch shifting working forwards or in reverse. To my ears, a lot of the more natural sounding ones are actually going to have the pitch direction in reverse on there. There's something about hearing that pitch shift in reverse with a really long reverb that just makes me feel good and inspires me to play. You can see on the Ursa Major and the Capricorn, the pitch direction is in reverse, whereas with Andromeda, it's also in reverse, but on Sagittarius, it is forward. For example, let's just have a listen to the difference on there between forward, reverse, and then a couple of different combinations. They all sound pretty amazing, but I do love that those defaults sound so good straight out of the box. You'll also notice that there is a separate high cut for the pitch shifted element of the reverb and the actual reverb itself. So a good little trick on here that I find is actually bringing the pitch high cut down about as far as you can tolerate where you still hear the shimmer effect in there. If we leave that wide open, to me, it can get a little bit bright and artificial sounding. I mean, it's an artificial effect anyway, but it has some of that element where you sort of know that it's a pitch shifted reverb rather than it just sounding like a really beautiful musical effect. For my taste, I actually like adding a little bit of a low cut to the reverb, especially if you're going to be using types like the Capricorn, where you've got a shift down in the pitch shifter. This is just going to stop the low end from building up and getting too boomy. Let's go for a 12 dB per octave cut on there at, say, 150 Hertz. Let's check out what this sounds like now. So that's just using the reverb block to create Shimmer Reverb. It makes total sense, right? You can create Shimmer Reverbs using a few other blocks. So let's check out the Plex delay block in here, because this has several shimmer types available, and we can apply some of the same techniques we used in the reverb block to fine tune them. So let's just have a listen to the stock Plex delay type on here. This sounds really nice, as you would expect. And as before, I would encourage you to just start by working through some of the different effect types. Let's hear 3 of my favorites on here. Again, look through the different types until you hear something you really like the sound of, and then you can go ahead and tweak it. If I was going to take this Shimmer Reverb type on here, I'll show you what I would do to it just to fine tune it. Let's hear it where it is at the moment. So for that, I've chosen a shimmer amount of 3. If you want to hear more of the effect, simply turn this control up. I like 3 or 4 on there because they provide a nice balance between the standard type of reverb on there and that pitch shifted shimmer reverb. I want more decay though, so let's turn that up to about 12 seconds. I'm going to crank the input diffusion mix. This is going to help smear out the overall shimmer reverb on there. I'm going to turn the size up a little bit. Let's go to 75%. So I'm really going for a large reverb over here. Some pre-delay is always nice. I'm going to go for 70 milliseconds of pre-delay just to kind of separate the dry guitar signal and the shimmer effect on there. The low cut, I'm going to turn up to 150 hertz. I'm going to go quite hard with the high cut. Let's set that to 4000 hertz on there. Everything else I quite like. After we do this, I'm going to show you how to use the hold function on here so that we can create freeze style pads as well. I really like the way that sounds. Next, let's attach a modifier to the stack and hold function on here. I have a TRS cable connected to a little external foot switch on my VP4, and I'm going to assign this hold function to that switch. So we're going to right click it. We will set the source to pedal 2 over here because I've got it in the pedal 2 jack. If I reach over here and press that pedal, what's going to happen now is I can set hold, or I can have this set to off when I press the switch. I really like that ability in there. What I'm going to do though is set the Plex delay up to hold. So I'm going to play a chord, let it sustain. I'm going to hit the foot switch, which will activate the hold function. I'm going to run that into another reverb on there to create some extra ambience. So I've got the Stratocumulus reverb in the reverb block and the Shimmer Reverb in the Plex block. This is a pretty amazing combination. Let's hear it. And last but certainly not least, a variation on a classic shimmer effect is in the pitch block. It's the crystal echoes effect type in there. We'll hear it at the stock settings. Actually, I'll just turn the mix up to 50% so we can really hear that. Then I'm just going to play around with the shift, the amount of feedback, and the high cut. My personal preference, again, is to use a combination of an octave up and an octave down to go hard with the high cut on there. Adding a little bit of detune is nice as well, but play around with the different intervals you use for the pitch shifting in your Shimmer reverbs on there. Using intervals of a fifth and a fourth can be really cool and really musical as well. I hope this has made the whole topic of Shimmer reverbs and how to dial them up and tweak them to your own taste a little bit clearer. Any questions, let me know in the comments section below. And of course, we have to hear all of these at the same time. So we'll take the crystal echoes that I've dialed in here, we'll run it into the helium shimmer, and we'll run that into the Capricorn reverb over here. I might even add some distortion right at the end. I'll see you on next week's Tuesday Tone Tip. Have some fun playing around with some Shimmer reverbs, and I will see you then.